As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We welcome you to hour number 2 live right here on this Monday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. So much to get to over these next 2 hours with still one more football game in this second to last week around the National Football League regular season on a Monday night in Santa Clara. What is at stake? Really, if anything, tonight between the Lions and the 49ers. A game that everybody dreamed of for Week 17 even just a few months ago now kind of loses its luster. We'll discuss why, what it means for the NFC playoff picture, and still, Donnie, a lot to recap from the weekend that was around the National Football League, especially with its impact on the AFC in the postseason outlook on that side of the league.
Absolutely. So much still to be determined this week, and so many boneheaded decisions that coaches will make that will have you scratching your head. Do guys go for 2,000 plus yards that have 2,005? They want to get to 2,100 yards and they want to break records. Yeah. Does Jahmyr Gibbs get lubed up for the playoffs tonight with extra action to get him those 30 carries he's going to need by next weekend? Stop the madness here. I love to talk about this because it spurns hot topic conversations on both sides. That's what we love, Ben, about sports. It's not just saying, hey, let's go over a box score here, but it's trying to get those angles into the game that could win or lose, make you look genius or make you look stupid. There's going to be a lot of that from handicappers, on-air personalities, coaches, and players this week. That's why we love it.
And listen, a week from today will be known as Black Monday around the National Football League, where coaches might have their jobs on the line or dismissed. And there might be one coach in New York that is waiting that day, maybe a general manager to follow him out the door. We'll talk about the Giants in just a second. Yesterday, DRS, a couple of teams around the AFC, much like the Bengals on Saturday night. Happy that Cincy won to keep its season extended and keep the Broncos from already clinching an AFC playoff spot. Because of that, the Dolphins entered Sunday with life, as did the Colts. Miami, despite not having Tua Tagovailoa, takes care of business against the Cleveland Browns on the road, 20-3. It was Tyler Huntley versus Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Total was 32.5. it stayed under. Miami covers as a 3.5-point road favorite. Frankly, Snoop Huntley was pretty darn good. 22 of 26, 225 passing yards, and a touchdown. Was also the Fins' leading rusher with 52 on the ground and another score there. Cool. The Dolphins keep their season alive, beating a bad Browns team and their third-string backup, Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
By the way, that's impressive for the Dolphins. Coming into this game, it's like, I want no piece of this. There's just talent devoid across the board. Quarterbacks in supposedly really bad temperatures, really bad weather and wind here. And then you have Huntley, 22 of 26 for 225, a touchdown pass, no interceptions, and a passer rating of 115, then carries 7 times for 52 yards. That's as good as it gets. And Tua Tagovailoa, we don't know the real cryptic responses by Miami saying, well, based on medical, there was no way he was going to play today. So we're supposed to believe that with that win, he might play week 18 or into the playoffs. This might be Snoop Huntley's squad all the way through. Do we think they're going to make the playoffs? Probably not. But that's a gutsy performance from a Miami team that usually plays in any sort of elements outside of Miami. Like, ooh, it's under 60 degrees or there's a little bit of rain in the forecast. We just can't comprehend this. And shout out Tyreek Hill, playing with a badly sprained ligaments in his wrist, 9 catches for $105. This team is still fighting down there for McDaniels. I'm pretty impressed by that overall. Good performance by the Dolphins. They certainly didn't give up on the season when they probably could have.
We talked about the Bengals, right? They beat the Broncos. They have the direct head-to-head tiebreak. Everybody needs Denver to lose once again in Week 18, this upcoming Sunday at home as an 8.5-point favorite. Well, they're playing the Chiefs. Yeah, they're playing Carson Wentz and all the backups for KC. Denver should be fine. We shall see. If the Broncos lose and both Miami and Cincy win, it would be the Dolphins, Donnie, even in front of the Bengals, despite Cincinnati's direct head-to-head tiebreak over Denver, because Miami has a better conference win percentage. All things to pay attention to as we get ready for Week 18. The Dolphins will take on the New York Jets. The other New York team just needs to keep losing games to secure the number 1 overall pick and have some hope for the future. And draft Shedeur Sanders, who wore the Giants' cleats on Saturday, getting ready for the Alamo Bowl. He put the kibosh on New York and maybe his future in the Big Apple, because the Giants won their first game of 2024 inside MetLife Stadium, 45-33, outright as a 7.5-point underdog against Indianapolis, even at home. Total of 40.5 goes over. Donnie, so many things that go into this game. Can't wait for your reaction. But just a few things here. Most points for the Giants in a win in a decade since 2014. Drew Lock, who needs a new quarterback, 309 passing yards, 4 passing scores, rushing touchdown as well. Malik Neighbors is the future. 7 grabs, $171, and 2 touchdowns. And the Giants snap their franchise worst 10-game losing skid. But because of it, they no longer control the destiny of the number 1 overall pick. They still could get it based on how things end up next week. But if the season ended today and the Patriots would have that number 1 overall pick, and if New England loses next week again, New England's drafting first overall, or at least will hold that first overall pick entering the draft cycle.
Yeah, let's talk about the Giants. And again, where the fans know way more than the general managers, the coaches, the players, and they want the best for the organization because they're fans. They're going to be here long after some of these players, coaches, and general managers and owners will be here. The fact that they won that game is an absolute travesty. And you might say the locker room, like, hey, we always going to try. Why don't you try for the previous 15, 16 games? You got your absolutely head battered on a week-to-week basis, and the fans were saying, you're not giving back money to the fans. You're not saying, you know what, this season was so bad, the Mara family, for Christmas, is going to actually give back all the money for season tickets because we apologize. No, they took that money in good faith here. So the fans have a right to get angry, but also sometimes you have to take it out of the players' hands. And you speak from past experiences, Ben. Just a couple of years ago, do you remember the last time the Washington Commanders won the division? They won it, I believe, during the COVID years. Doug Peterson was the head coach of Philadelphia, playing a game in Philadelphia where the Eagles had a legitimate chance to win. And they put in like a 4th-string quarterback in the 4th quarter, so they knew that this kid was not going to be able to win a game. I think it might have been Nate Sudfeld at the time, right? So hear me out on this. The Giants say, we're going to play hard. Hey, Drew Lock's having a great first half. You know what? We want to take a look at this 5th-string guy we just signed off the practice squad in the second half. So you're playing the football game. The NFL's not going to get angry, and you can use it as we're out of it. We want to get looks at some of the younger guys and get beat in that football game. It's unbelievable that they won from an ownership, general manager, coach, and player standpoint because you only hurt your franchise. And save me this. Well, you never want to end the season or losing. Do you remember last year when I laughed as an Eagles fan? And yes, the Eagles got pummeled in the playoffs because they got Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown hurt in that final game. But the Giants won and once again ruined their position for a chance to take a quarterback. How did that work out? That last win against the Eagles where they were high-fiving last year in Week 18 turned out to be a disaster. It's unbelievable. You can't win it. You have the number one pick in your grasp, and all you have to do is be as bad as you were for the first 3 quarters of the season, and they couldn't even do that. Hilarious.
A rare occasion where both teams are super pissed off, both fan bases, I should say, based on the result. Indianapolis just trying to stay in the running for an AFC playoff spot. Joe Flacco got the start with the injuries or whatever to Anthony Richardson. The Colts lose. They are eliminated from playoff contention. An uneasy offseason ahead in Indianapolis, might I say. And maybe one for the New York Giants as well. A disaster even when things are bad. Just lose a game and get the first overall pick. Everybody will say the same thing. These guys are professionals. They are playing a violent and dangerous game. They are going to go out there and win. There is no doubt about it. But if you are the Giants and you have looked at how this season plays out, it has been a failure. A failure to even do things well when you are doing things poorly. And Joe Shane should lose his job, and Brian Daboll should be an offensive coordinator somewhere else next season. It is tough for the New York Giants. Sorry to those that back the G-Men. More around the NFL next.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All of the action from week number 17 around the NFL, both Saturday and Sunday, live right here on a Monday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. DRS, the Buffalo Bills, a tough last few weeks after they saw Patrick Mahomes get injured a few weeks ago and then play right away, even on a short week. The Chiefs claim the number 1 overall seed on Christmas Day with a victory in the Steel City. Buffalo still trying to clinch that number 2 overall seed in the AFC and at least host a couple of games in Western New York. It's what the Bills did easily yesterday, dispatching the New York Jets. 40-14, Buffalo easily covers as a 9.5-point favorite. Total of 44.5 does go over. Really, Buffalo was up 40-zip for a lot of this game until they put in Tyrod Taylor to replace Aaron Rodgers. If the guy plays another NFL snap in New York, the Jets have done something terribly, terribly wrong. Josh Allen, 182 passing yards, 2 passing scores, a rush touchdown as well. 41 total touchdowns this year. Donnie, he is the first player in NFL history to have 40-plus total touchdowns in 5 consecutive NFL seasons as the Bills clinch the 2 seed in that AFC playoff picture.
Yeah, the Bills are good. Josh Allen is really good. Aaron Rodgers stinks, and so do the New York Jets. I mean, and by the way, my condolences. If you had the under in this football game at 44.5 points at 12-0 at the break, figuring that Buffalo just going to salt this game away, and then the Jets went into nuke mode the opposite direction in a complete meltdown. You take a look at Aaron Rodgers. I never saw this before. A QBR rating based on 0 to 100. He got a 1.2 rating and deserved that there. And also, if you read the post-game clippings for Garrett Wilson's like, I don't understand. The vibes are good heading into all these football games. Yeah. We're loose. We feel good. And then we just get our asses kicked, and rightfully so. They've been doing that same thing the whole year. You saw the line in this game. It's like, okay, it's a high number. Can the Jets come to play? Jets haven't come to play in weeks and weeks and weeks. Outside of that one victory in Jacksonville, it was like a complete miracle at this point. But you look at the Buffalo Bills heading towards the playoffs. They'll be a really good football team. But this New York Jets team heading into the offseason of who's my coach going to be? Who's my general manager? Is my owner's 17-year-old son the real owner of the football team and calling all the shots because he likes John Madden football at this point now? I don't know. But that's an embarrassing performance. If we were trying to build hey, we're going to close this season strong and I'm going to hold everybody accountable, which Aaron Rodgers has been telling you, only to say, you know what? I don't even feel like playing in the fourth quarter. I've been so bad. We're so bad. Tyrod, get out there. And then Tyrod to go 11 for 14, throw 2 touchdown passes when Aaron Rodgers couldn't move the football at all to start this game is hilarious in itself. I think we saw what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers cannot come back to the Jets. And for the Jets, you're healthier that way. Can you imagine if fool's gold Aaron Rodgers put together a couple wins at the end of the season and brought it back next year as let's run this back because for some reason it just didn't work last year, the last 2 years, but it's going to work this following year. Congratulations, Jets. Your biggest present this year is, number one, your team stunk, but you don't have to deal with Aaron Rodgers anymore after this.
The worst and lowest QBR of the entire season in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers yesterday, 1.2. We had Sauce Gardner on Instagram commenting on T. Higgins' post, and the fans saying, hey, bring him to New York, and Sauce saying, I am absolutely not telling him that. Things are really good for the stalwarts of your franchise. The Jets, of course, the longest drought in all the 4 major men's professional sports leagues in North America, 14 consecutive years missing out on the postseason. Yesterday's loss in Buffalo will clinch the 7th time. Half of those 14 years, the Jets finished with 5 wins or fewer. A disaster. But that's what happens when you back an enigma. You never know how it's going to go. Josh Allen, DRS, statistically not overwhelming yesterday, or really for a good majority of this season, despite making history time and again. There is some conversation about the MVP race around the NFL. Josh Allen will enter the regular season finale week at minus 320. Do you believe Josh Allen will win the NFL MVP award this season?
I do. And again, MVP, most valuable player, right? There's ways that different voters look at that. But for me, it's what do you bring to your team? And look, we're not knocking Lamar Jackson. He's a 2-time MVP and quite frankly could be another MVP this year. But for me, if you remove Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills, Ben, They're not a playoff team. They're headed into the top 5 looking for their quarterback. If you remove Lamar Jackson from Baltimore, I believe they're still fighting for a playoff spot. It's that simple. It's not a knock on either player. It's just the way these rosters are set up at this point. It's why guys like, Jared Goff and maybe even Jalen Hurts don't get that much credit. Say, oh, that's so much talent around them. They can win football games without him. I don't think the Buffalo Bills win too many damn games this year without Josh Allen. He's been that good. So for me, most valuable player, which is what the award is, it's Josh Allen on the Buffalo Bills.
I think both have equal value to their team. I don't think the Ravens would be anything without Lamar Jackson. But even in saying that, Lamar has better stats this year. After a season, he won NFL MVP with not great stats because Baltimore had the best record in the NFL. Josh Allen, in what was supposed to be a rebuilding or figure-it-out type season in Western New York, has led Buffalo to the 2 seed in the AFC and a 13-3 record as of this moment. He has also made history time and again. First quarterback ever to have a passing, rushing, and receiving score in a game. First quarterback ever to have 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns in a game. 41 total touchdowns this year. First player ever in NFL history with 5 consecutive seasons of 40-plus total touchdowns. Josh Allen deserves the NFL MVP award. Other scores from the weekend, including Saturday. DRS, the Chargers just needed a win in New England. It's what they got in a big way, blowing out the Patriots 40-7. The Bolts cover as a 5.5-point road favorite. Total of 41 in the hook does go over. The Chargers have covered in all 10 of their wins this season as a favorite. 9-2 against the spread, and J.K. Dobbins was back. He had 76 yards on the ground and an icing touchdown. The Chargers now have clinched a playoff spot in the AFC.
Fantastic performance by them on Saturday. Even it's a lowly Patriots. You had to go West Coast to East Coast. Not great weather, and you absolutely put it on the patch. Which question, will Gerard Mayo be back next year? We'll find out. But on the Chargers, you hit the nail on the head. J.K. Dobbins is back to give you that electric performance in the backfield and a chance for a ball carrier to carry 20-plus times in the playoffs, which Harbaugh wants to do. That's a big boost to have him back and healthy before the playoffs.
We'll recap the end of Sunday, some games that didn't really have implications on the playoff race, and then get you to bowl season in college football.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
They may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two final scores from the second to last NFL weekend before we head into the regular season finale, but not before Monday Night Football tonight in Northern California. We'll preview the Lions and the Niners and what is actually at stake tonight in Santa Clara. But DRS yesterday, does anybody want the number one overall pick in the National Football League? The Raiders were a favorite against the New Orleans Saints. So the Raiders did end up winning 25-10 as a slight 1.5 favorite and minus 132 on the money line. Total of 37.5 does stay under. The Raiders have now won 2 straight games. They were a slight favorite in both against New Orleans this week and Jacksonville a week ago. But outside of the result, Donnie, history for that guy on your screen in Brock Bowers. 7 grabs, 77 yards, moves past Mike Ditka for the new rookie tight end record of 1,144 yards. Yes, Ditka did it way back in the early 60s when they only played 14 regular season games, so his record still will stand alone, but that will be notable for Brock Bowers. Also 108 receptions this season, the most ever by a rookie, either wide receiver or tight end. Puka Nacua had the record for just a year, setting it a season ago.
The Raiders are such a miserable franchise. And I guess in a transient city like Las Vegas, where maybe the local fan base doesn't get all that fired up whether you win or lose, because a lot of teams are coming in and fans from out of state to go into your stadium and fill it up and you get paid anyway. But Mark Davis, just an absolute buffoon, man. Like Al Davis on his last legs was so much better than his son because at least you thought the Raiders had pride. They can't even lose correctly. So what are we going to do? Bring back our head coach next year and say, he won a couple games down the stretch and he deserves to come back for Antonio Pierce? Stop the madness here. Your one goal was to get a quarterback that you can market for the city of Las Vegas and give them something to buy into it. And you're absolutely exploding that notion now at this point where the Raiders have 4 wins. Oh, let's just rewind like 2 or 3 short years here. Like, think about what the Raiders could have been. And Derek Carr is not a great quarterback by any stretch, but at least you brought him in like, you know what? He's still young enough. He's got talent. If we surround him with talent, give him a couple years, see what he can do. Oh, and Josh Jacobs is your starting running back. Looks damn good up there for the Packers. You had Devontae Adams, and you just added Brock Bowers. That's a roster that you can compete by making a playoff run year after year. And here we are talking about the Raiders probably firing their head coach, general manager. Tom Brady's going to call the shots. Now we don't have a pick at the top of the draft. We can't get our quarterback. And, oh, yeah, we like Aiden O'Connell now. Just an awful run organization. Once again, let the fans run the organization. They'll be much better than the people actually running it are now.
2 weeks ago, it was between Vegas and the New York Giants who would have that number 1 overall pick. The Raiders now officially cannot get the number 1 overall pick. The Titans might be able to, and they made their own set of history yesterday, but for all the wrong reasons. The Jags beat Tennessee 20-13. Jacksonville covers as a slight 1.5 favorite at home. It was minus 110 on the money line, minus 108 on the other side for Tennessee. Total of 37.5 does stay barely under. The Jags, DRS, I don't think Doug Peterson is coming back, but the reason I say it, they have covered in 7 of their last 10 games. Tennessee has not covered in any of their 13 losses this season, and they are now officially 2-14 against the spread. That is the worst cover record in the history of the National Football League in the Super Bowl era. 2-14 ATS, the worst cover team the NFL has ever known.
Yeah, and that's a new general manager in town with a new head coach. Not looking good if you want to go to the owner's office after the new year and explain to yourself or explain to that person why you want to be brought back next year and what that means. But you are right about the Jaguars. The numbers don't pan out at 4-12, and you probably should make a change. But there's something so far gone that we're tanking, we're losing, we hate this coach, we just want to get out of here, and you're playing within the number, which means that you're fighting each and every week for your coach, for your franchise, and your ownership group. 20-13, you don't want to win these games, right? That's not the goal of it, where Tennessee actually comes out the victor by losing that game, by improving their draft position. But you're not even winning with your starting quarterback. It's Mac Jones at this point. He's bad. But the one thing you have going forward is Brian Thomas Jr. is a problem. That kid can play. Now you just need an offseason where Trevor Lawrence gets healthy. You're surrounded with a little bit more talent here. This team has the bones, as we like to say, to be a good ball club over the next 2 to 3 years if they get the coaching decision correct. There's too much talent on the Jaguars to be 4-12, and they found themselves an unbelievable wideout to build off of.
So 4 teams have a chance of having the number 1 overall pick at the end of the regular season. The Patriots, the Browns, the Titans, and the Giants. If New England loses in Week 18 and they're a short home underdog against the Buffalo team that will probably start Mitchell Trubisky, the Patriots will have the number 1 overall pick for the 2025 NFL Draft. College football bowl season next.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
A bowl season recap from the weekend that was around college football. DRS, 8 FBS bowl games on Saturday, the most in a single day throughout the entirety of bowl season. That included the People's National Championship, otherwise known as the 2024 Pop-Tarts Bowl, on Saturday evening in Orlando. A game that has done just a masterful job of appreciating all the unique facets that make college football what this beautiful sport is, and a marketing genius move as well. And then the game lived up to its hype, even with the characters on the sideline. Iowa State wins 42-41. Rocco Beck, the QB sneak, under a minute remaining in regulation, gives the Cyclones the victory. Cam Ward did play for the Hurricanes in a very high-scoring opening half. Live total at a point got to the 100s. Pre-game total was 60 and a hook. It skies over. Ward did not play in the second half. Iowa State wins. You see it right there. That being the hot fudge being eaten by Miami's mascot in Sebastian. But Rocco Beck made the call that cinnamon, toasted cinnamon, would be the Pop-Tart that was eaten live in the ritualistic sacrifice for all of the nation to witness. The Cyclones win outright as a 4.5-point dog. There's a lot of bowl games. I love all of them. Even if you don't like bowl games, you got to love the Pop-Tarts Bowl and what it means for college football.
I like Pop-Tarts. I do. And by the way, that is a savvy move going cinnamon. But for me, it's frosted strawberry. It's not even close. I'm not even putting them in the toaster. I'm just eating them right out of the wrapper. Been doing that all the way since I was a kid. So Pop-Tarts is solid. I do think marketing-wise, it is a very, very good way to do it, because who doesn't get excited for Pop-Tarts? But also, this is one of those where, Ben, I guess you could put your kids through college. Miami doesn't care about bowl games. They don't ever win those. Miami was a favorite, so you usually go take the Iowa State Cyclones. Miami doesn't play any defense whatsoever, so you automatically just bang the total regardless of who they're playing in a football game, and it worked out. Because look at Miami's side of things. And it's a shame because Cam Ward deserved better. If you let's just say Cam Ward played for Ohio State and just made the decision to go there as opposed to Miami. Like, Ohio State would just walk to a national championship because they actually have a pulse on defense, and he's a very good quarterback. Like, he leaves with a 97.6 QBR in that game. Miami's run game, 39 carries for 308 yards, which was almost 8 yards per carry, and they lost the football game. Like, you're supposed to, at these schools that can just recruit from where they're at geography-wise, right? And say, we're going to just find athletes on defense, they'll be fine. We got to worry about the offense. And it's the complete opposite. Like, Miami, if they had a pulse on defense, they would have won the ACC. They would have walked right into the national championship picture, and away they went. But their defense was so bad the entire season, which included the bowl game. It was unbelievable to watch. But again, you can put your kids through Miami playing in meaningless bowl games because they never show up for those.
And you know, DRS, the ACC as a whole this year has really not shown up. The Syracuse Orange, the only team out of the ACC to get a win in bowl season so far, in the back door was open for Zevi Eckhouse and those Washington State Cougars on Friday night. The ACC is 0-10. 0-10 against the spread in bowl season competition so far. Cam Ward threw 3 touchdowns in the opening half. A lot of people were upset by Cam Ward electing to sit out the second half. You could tell there was something slightly off from the odds makers. FanDuel for a while did not post props for the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which was really one of the marquee games of the entirety of bowl season, and certainly on Saturday, probably because there was a little bit of scuttlebutt that Ward might not play the entirety of the game. After Rocco Beck scored the go-ahead touchdown, there was a thought, all right, Ward's still in full uniform. Does he go out there? He did not. I don't have so much an issue with it, knowing he has a very bright future in the NFL. Some Miami fans were upset. Rocco Beck in Iowa State victorious, and Cinnamon gets toasted alive for all to see. I would agree, by the way, Frosted Strawberry, the OG, my favorite as well.
So we
did see Strawberry in the corpse of him up in the stands supporting his other mascot friends on Saturday at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. Donnie, I was surprised. Given the Pop-Tarts Bowl trophy, I'm sure you saw this, a functional and working toaster in the actual trophy itself. Again, the branding behind the Pop-Tarts team for this bowl game,
fantastic.
Absolutely genius. This is what you do. Donnie, I was surprised to see a lot of takes say you absolutely must toast a Pop-Tart. I'm kind of anti-toasting Pop-Tarts. I rip it right out of the silver package, and I go right in.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I'm glad we have that same take together, because sometimes people will be like, oh, you got to toast it at this point. Like, no, like there's other things that the toaster can be used for. You know, a nice bagel in there. You want to toast a bagel, that's fine.
Sure.
You want to toast some bread in there, that's good. But Pop-Tarts never make it to my toaster. They are delicious right out of the packet themselves. I don't want the thing heated up and melty and gooey. And hey, you got to wait a second for it to cool down. Man, let me just get right into it. Let's go.
I completely agree with the frosted and the filling. It's just right away.
Yes.
It's a little bit surprised by some of those takes. I don't know how I feel that we're agreeing on something that might be seen controversial, but hey, there it is. Iowa State, by the way, ends the year with 11 wins. One of the best win total bets I've ever made. Cyclones over 7.5. That was never in doubt. The Cyclones, in all of their football program history, had never won more than 9 games in a season entering 2024. They had 10 at the end of the regular season, a spot in the Big 12 championship game, and now an 11th win to boot. So Cam Ward, one of the quarterbacks that is going to go top 5 in the 2025 NFL draft, played at least for a half on Saturday. Shedeur Sanders played for longer than that, if you want to call it even play.
Yeah.
Colorado was absolutely beat bad by BYU. The Cougs cap off a magical season as well with 11 wins, 36-14. I don't even know if you heard about that on the broadcast, that BYU won double-digit games for the second time in 5 years. Shout out BYU, one of my early bets of this bowl season. Cougs money line before I knew that Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner, and Shedeur Sanders would play. They closed as a 3.5-point favorite, did Colorado. BYU still wins outright, 36-14, in a big game that is the Alamo Bowl each and every bowl season.
Yeah, I mean, just a shame here to end the season for Colorado dropping the 9-4. I mean, Ben, how are you going to recover and play a bowl game when you have one player in your team and Travis Hunter's girlfriend running wild out here where you're not even focused on the game, or you're not even focused on, like, you know, chalkboard, chalk talk, getting your team ready to go? Like, Deion's out here having to bring this kid up and sort of bless him up in the middle because of how tough a season they were having here in their offseason at this point. So, I don't know, if we would have got that information earlier here on what was going on with the team itself, BYU, no doubt about it, blowout winner. Colorado just wasn't focused here.
16 of 23 for Shedeur Sanders, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Of the 208 yards, a $106 to Travis Hunter and a touchdown. A spectacular player. I didn't know if we would ever discuss his romantic life on the early line, but here it is. Travis, find some people in your corner and make the right decisions. You are one of the all-time talented college football players that we have seen. Focus on you, my man. You seem like a great guy, although he would argue his girlfriend's not doing anything wrong. But if I may, for just a second, BYU, 11 wins under Kalani Sitake, once again for the second time in 5 years. 5th time in the last 2 decades. Jake Retzloff, BYU, the Jewish quarterback on the 4th night of Hanukkah, leading the Cougars to an 11-win season. One of the great stories in college football this season. Did you know that?
No, but like after the game, are they allowed to have caffeine? Like, what do they do to get down? No, I didn't know that. That was pretty good, though.
Nah, Diet Coke's popping, brother. That's why Provo in prime time is as daunted of an atmosphere as you will see, or vaunted of an atmosphere as you will see. Nobody's passing out in the stands. They're getting up.
Yeah, but
all
what is it?
game.
How are they getting up at that point? Because me, without caffeine, like I'm tired as all get out late in the day. Like, how do these kids actually studying at school without caffeine at this point?
Good night's sleep.
How's it even possible?
No hangovers, good night's sleeps. They're excited to get up. I don't know. They're having a good time. Shout out BYU. What a victory it was for the Cougars on Saturday night. A little bit more from bowl season, and then Monday night between the Lions and the Niners. Next.
As the candles flicker, a new tradition shines. 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights of winning insights.
Well, they may come out slow, so you might be able to get a better number. Wow, they're favored.
With SportsGrid, every night is another chance to win.
No pick sixes today, they cover. So let's crunch it up. Let's make it happen. Let's give you our favorite props.
Let your Hanukkah winnings brighten your celebrations. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
Don't want them to go 13-0 and then lose the first round of the playoffs.
Red.
This is their last shot. They don't really have anywhere else to go yet.
Hot take.
By the time I hit, I guess what, Route 33 up here, that ticket's cashing.
Only on SportsGrid. In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans, bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, We shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Monday on the early line on SportsGrid, looking back on a football weekend before we get to the Monday night finale of Week 17 in just a moment. 8 FBS bowl games on Saturday, a couple of notable scores. 22nd ranked Army behind 3 more rushing touchdowns from Bryson Daly, the most ever at the quarterback spot at the FBS level, 32 in total this season. The Black Knights, DRS, who have played football at West Point for more than 130 years, win 12 games in 2024, the most ever in a single season for Army football. That was huge. 27-6, the victory over Louisiana Tech, covering as a 14.5-point favorite. In the Pinstripe Bowl, the Rose Bowl of the East, Nebraska, in its first bowl game since 2016, wins its first bowl game since 2015, holding off BC 20-15 and covering as a 3.5-point favorite. How about UConn? No Bill Belichick just yet for UNC. So Jim Mora's Huskies win their 9th game of the season, 27-14, outright as a slight underdog. TCU routs Louisiana. ECU beats NC State in the in-state showdown that got a little ugly with a brawl late in regulation, led to some referees being clocked in the head with a helmet. I'm not actually laughing at that. And Miami of Ohio feeling good about the Arizona Bowl, sponsored by Snoop Dogg. They iced out Chuck Martin as the Red Hawks win 43-17 over Colorado State.
How about that? 43-17, Miami Ohio. Shout out to Mac at that point here. But if I look at the scores, the ones that stick out the most, got to be North Carolina. Like Bill Belichick, what did I get myself into? I hope another team fires their head coach, late in training camp so I can get out of my contract and move on, because I just gave my son a job here at this point. So it is going to be a long rebuild for North Carolina. We'll see how it plays out. But it's bowl season. Some teams come to play. Some teams don't. The one thing you can always understand is the military academies love bowl season here. They're going to play hard regardless of the final score or all the way through. An Army 12-2 this year. That's impressive. It is sort of a shame they did lose to Navy, because that season capping it off of unbelievable. And to be a service academy head coach, knowing that you can't just peel off NIL, you can't get transfers in, you have to run a style of offense because your athletic weapons aren't as good as the other teams out here. To have a 12-2 Army football team and the way Navy played this year, absolutely sensational for those coaches and programs.
Navy capped off a 9-win season with a victory, a 10-win season with a victory over Oklahoma earlier in the week as well. Blake Horvath making history for the midshipmen. What a year it was for the service academies. DRS, here's the numbers. Since 2014, service academy teams are 16-3 straight up in bowl games. You're not really worried about the transfer portal, to your point. You know who is playing. The buy-in is always there, although Kanye Udo did transfer from Army to Arizona State, which is still one of the wildest combinations of sentences you could ever see in college football in the transfer portal. But Bryson Daly was there, and the Black Knights win big. Another bowl game today, Music City Bowl in Nashville, Iowa and Missouri. The Tigers a 2.5-point favorite. Love me some Hawks on this Monday afternoon in Nashville. But a lot of the big-name players will be there on either side for Mizzou or Iowa. All right, DRS, let's get to the end of Monday Night Football to end out Week 17. It's our final Monday Night Football game of the regular season. No Monday night games next week. No Thursday night games for week number 18. So this is a game that we had circled earlier in the year. Oh, what could you ask for on the final Monday Night Football game of the year? Better than this rematch from the NFC Championship game between the 49ers and the Lions. Well, San Francisco is sub 500, already out of the playoff mix. And with Minnesota's win over Green Bay yesterday, this game really doesn't matter all that much for Detroit. Sure, it matters, but the game that will only impact the playoff standings is next week in the Motor City. Even if the Lions win on this Monday night in Santa Clara. 3.5-point spread in favor of Detroit, total at 50.5. DRS, knowing what is actually at stake for the Monday night finale of this regular season, how do you approach betting it?
It's very hard because you might have to wait a little bit later in the day. But for me, I'm already approaching it by saying, look, Dan Campbell, love what he's done in Detroit here. And yes, the way he's done business there is the reason why Detroit is a great football team. But there is a method to the madness sometimes that you have to be pulled back, whether it's your general manager, whether it's your assistant coaches, whether it's the ownership group, and says, Dan, love you here. Let me hear your game plan and how you're going to lay it out for Monday Night Football. Well, it's a football game. We want to win. We're going full blast. And I said, you know what?
Yeah.
Love what you're trying to do here, but I'm going to send you on a one-way ticket back to Detroit to have you get ready for Minnesota because that's absolutely ridiculous. I understand they're professionals, they're regimented, but sometimes when you look at a football game, because you do have to go back and see what the MO would be, right? If you would have told me, like, Detroit, we're just going to do things differently. Preseason game number 3, we're playing all of our starters as if it's a real game because I want to get ready for week number 1. They didn't do that. They didn't play any of the starters here. Why? Because it was a meaningless football game that you didn't want to get anybody injured heading into week number 1 to start your season out. And this is a Detroit team, Ben, that over the course of the season has lost major pieces to their defense and offense on their way to thinking that they can win an NFC championship and a Super Bowl. If you play this game tonight, full blast, and nobody gets injured and you're no worse for the wear, that's one thing. But that's also ridiculous because you're already working at a disadvantage on rest time because Minnesota played the day before at home with no travel. You're on the road in San Francisco, long plane ride back. But you cannot risk any injuries. Like, legitimately, you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. What's the meaning of this game versus the San Francisco 49ers, who are also dead in the water, who could care less if they win this game? If all things accounted for and Detroit needed this game, go full tilt, blast this football team, and head into the postseason. But it doesn't mean anything. I'm an Eagles fan. From a fan perspective, yes, Detroit, play everybody. Get as injured as you can because I think that's the toughest team to beat in the NFC. As a handicapper, I have the Detroit Lions with a ticket to get to the Super Bowl here. I don't want you playing anything, but from a head coaching vantage point here, Ben, you cannot play your key players tonight extended periods of time. You can't do it, Dan Campbell. Don't do it.
I think it's really well said, DRS. We'll continue the discussion on the other side of the break.
In the heart of winter, when nights grow long, we come together under these lights. A team, united by purpose. Fans bound by passion. Each holding a small flicker of hope in their hands. At SportsGrid, we believe that even the darkest nights can't dim the unity we share. One team, one stadium, one shining moment. This holiday season, we shine brighter together. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We continue our preview of Monday Night Football, the final Monday Night Football game of the 2024 National Football League regular season. That on paper, a few months ago, seemed like a banger of a way to go out. But as we enter this Monday night in Santa Clara, is it really? San Francisco is a 6-9 football team that has failed based on expectation this season, mainly because of injuries. Eliminated already from NFC playoff contention. It happened a few weeks back. The Detroit Lions are 13-2, favored by more than a field goal on the road on this Monday night in Northern California. And perhaps you're thinking, well, the Lions just saw Minnesota win to get to 14-2 yesterday. Detroit needs to keep pace. This game doesn't actually impact the NFC North standings or the NFC's number one overall seed race. It all comes down to game 272 next week in the Motor City as the Lions will host the Vikings. The winner of that game, regardless of tonight's outcome, will win the NFC North divisional crown and claim the number one overall seed in the NFC. So, Donnie, we're debating what Dan Campbell might do for this game with Detroit. He is aggressive. You can question some of his coaching decisions, but you cannot call Dan Campbell dumb. He is not. He understands everything. In fact, he might be too aggressive because he is too much of a new age guy. We understand the idea of grit and the mentality that the Lions have and the biting kneecaps under Dan Campbell. So you would always think, well, if it's a football game, we'll line it up and we'll go out there and we'll play everybody to run it down the 49ers' throat. That's not actually how he operates. The buy-in and the investment is always there, but he understands the stakes and how important next week is for Detroit. And Donnie, as you said, this is not a Lions team fully healthy that could, go out there for a half and be fine regardless of result. This is a Lions team that the last month has been incredibly banged up, and its main and key contributors. They need to focus on next Sunday night against the Vikings. I do wonder what the plan is going to be, and I wonder what we see, Donnie, in the next few hours as we get ready for Monday night.
You can't bench everybody in the NFL. We understand that. Like, when I talk about the Eagles next week taking a bye week, that means like your key 15 out of 22 starters aren't going to play. But there are going to be guys on the offensive line and defensive line who have to play. But your true key components where you say to yourself, I already lost David Montgomery in the best 1-2 punch in the backfield, and I'm down to Jahmyr Gibbs. If Gibbs goes down, I have no chance to win in the playoffs. That's what you have to look at. Jared Goff is in the pocket. The chance of a quarterback getting injured is slim, but we've seen it happen before in games. Look, it's football. Things happen that way. But if you want to say, okay, Jared Goff, go out there. I'm going to give you a first half, just get in rhythm because we practiced all week. Our mindset is to head into this football game as we want to win. But it's up to the coach to put that mindset to the players, which you see it a lot. Hey, you guys are all playing in this game. Only right before the game, they go over and be like, take your helmet and shoulder pads off. You're not here because they want the preparation. That's the most important thing. You tell a professional athlete, an amateur athlete, anybody in your work office, hey, guys, this week doesn't matter with any sales or work that you do. Half of that team is going to be like, well, I'm not going to bed at night. I'm going out to the bar because nothing matters. But if you tell them on Friday, you better have your sales results in from a sales perspective, they will. And they say, oh, it didn't matter. Congratulations, bonuses for everybody. That's what they're going to do. If you play your guys all 4 quarters and Jahmyr Gibbs gets 25-plus touches in rushing and receiving tonight, you're just doing your team a disservice. He can't be dumb in the biggest moments. He was incredibly stupid last year against the 49ers. Don't double down against the 49ers. And maybe playing in San Francisco is his kryptonite where everything goes haywire and he just can't think straight here. Rest the key players, get them out early, go win yourself a division championship and the first overall seed by doing it the smart way, Dan, not the dumb way.
And that's next week against the Vikings in a game we have never seen in the history of the NFL. 13 or potentially 14 wins for Detroit, 14 wins for Minnesota, the most combined wins we have ever seen in a football game in the regular season in the history of the NFL. I will just say this, right? We're talking about motivation and the handicap and how it all plays out for Detroit tonight in a San Francisco team already eliminated from playoff contention. Does that mean if I don't think the Lions are playing all of their players for the majority of the game, I would back the 49ers getting more than a field goal at home? Not necessarily. San Francisco's only been a dog twice, and they have been awful in doing so. And I think the Lions could get out to an early start. So maybe Detroit first half. Do we lean under a high total of 50 and a hook? We'll see. I think we'll talk about the actual betting angles, Donnie, for the mentality we think Detroit might present in hour 3 when it comes up next.